Namaste. Good afternoon. I'm here speaking from the studio at the Bay of Bengal Conversations, hosted by Center for Governance Studies in Dhaka. It's a beautiful city to be here and to discuss about reforms. And when it comes about reforms, it's reforming our governance, reforming our politics, reforming our economy. So today I'm having conversation with my amazing panel here. I will introduce them later. But my name is Narayan Adhik, and I'm from Nepal. I work with accountability organizations called the Accountability Labs. Accountability Labs works to make governance working for people by supporting active citizens, responsible leaders, and accountable institutions. Doing a lot of interesting stuff that resonates mostly to the upcoming generations in music, theater, arts, technology, and convenings. So I'm here with amazing two panels, two distinguished panel having lots of experience working on different sectors, and I have the privilege to introduce, but at the same time, having you in the conversations. So in next half an hour, we will be delving in our experience, our thoughts, and our ideas, and how we can tackle one of the most challenging, things that we all know about: corruption. So we talk a lot about corruptions. We come up with a lot of ideas, and we also get fear of how, oh my God, how do we tackle this? It's happening everywhere. It's sort of killing life. Undermining institutions. It is very challenging, but we sometimes get intimidated of a lot of these conversations that are happening around corruption, because corruption is not actually giving hopes. But here today, with this conversation, half an hour, we will be talking more about solution, our hopes, but based on our experience and thoughts, and something we could also think about what we can do collaboratively as a region and as a global citizens. And this panel is amazing because with three people from three countries, Mr. Majid, amazing, outstanding retired public servants, but looking at his energy and enthusiasm in the sectors, he doesn't seem like a retired. Always thoughtful, always creatives, and I'm very excited to hear your perspectives and ideas later on. And then I have a colleague and friends from Thailand, Suthikorn. Thank you for joining. Suthikorn works with intersections of the private sectors and governance as an economist, but he's very much into geopolitics. So welcome, both of you. To kick off the conversation, as the topic that were given for us today is essentials policies and the reforms for anti-corruptions at these Bay of Bengal conversations. So it would be maybe unjust, if I introduce you from my mouth, but I would love you to take a moment, maybe a minute, to introduce the best, that how you describes in terms of your experience, your career, your ambitions, and your aim on fighting corruption. So I would like to start from Mr. Majid to kick off the conversation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Narayan Adhik. I'm very happy to be here at the Bay of Bengal conversation, and you know that it is being sponsored by Center for Governance Studies. Governance Studies.
Yeah.
This organization, it has a focal point is how to establish, how to implement the governance system. He is from the governance system and you are from the accountability system. You see, we are very fortunate enough today that we are talking in a conversation hosted by Center for Governance Studies. My idea and style of, I always believe in study anything that I have an article that is cause and consequences of corruption. 3C. Cause, what is the cause of corruption? What is the consequences of corruption? And that's right. So our today's discussion in this, that the corruption in our part of the world, I think it is now a global challenging job, corruption. in our part of the world, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, etc., in this part, that corruption has been so rampant and has been so intermingling within the society, so that people are being, people as well as the economy are being seriously damaged or seriously getting more challenges by these rampant corruptions. Then we should look at what are the corruption, what are the causes of corruption, why corruption. Center for Governance Studies, we made a country-wide survey, and we have some publications also. The CGS has got some publications also giving more thematic ideas or coming up with the views from the ordinary people, the stakeholders, and they have said that, and it has been found that corruption, once upon a time, it was from bottom to top, but now in this area, it is coming from the top to bottom. The top is grabbing everything, everybody, keeping everybody in his or her waist, and then inducing them to be corrupted, so that the society, the government officials. I retired about 14 years ago. I have seen at that time the service, the government servants. We call it government servants. So we are the serving. We have to serve the people. But gradually it is being found that we are selling the services to the people in exchange of money or something.
Excellent. Mr. Majid, allow me to take away from you, because you mentioned a very interesting point about, one is, I think I really love what you said about the cause and consequences of corruptions. And the second is you mentioned about top to bottom, kind of a channeling, how the, channel. And third, you mentioned about you being a public servant, and you mentioned this is very important, that you as a public servant, you have to serve the citizen, right? You have to serve the public. There's some values, there is some good conduct and virtues and integrity. We will come into that conversation later on, but here I would like to hear more about Suthikorn, with your introduction, please, and some of the opening.
Sure. I did manage a think tank called Future Innovative Thailand Institute about 10 years ago, and at that time we had a political crisis, and we did came up with a paper on how to reform Thailand, and one of the areas is corruptions. I fully agree with Mr. Majid, that corruption create inequalities. Corruption create many things. It creates inefficiencies in the system, in the whole country. And what we found during our research 10 years ago is that to prevent corruption is not easy. It's like vicious cycle. When you have politicians who has to spend lots of money to get elected, then when they get elected, they need more money to make sure they get elected next time. So this is a vicious cycle, happen everywhere. But what we observe is transparencies help. I mean, in the US, politicians need a lot of money as well, but whoever donate the money for the campaign, whoever providing financial support for the campaign, they have to publish. And eventually, if that person who got elected provide favorable positions, favorable policies toward donors too much, too far, next time they will not get elected. So the key thing is not cut the system. No one can spend money on anything. No politician have to, they cannot spend money on political campaign, but you have to make sure that it's transparent. That's the key. And it's transparent every level. In Thailand, there's a movement to push the politicians, high-ranking government officials to publicly release their assets, their income, not only them, but also including their wife, the children under 20 and so on. So this is something that allow the society to monitor, allow the society to check whether this person is behaving accordingly to the law or not. So this is something I think transparency is the key for fighting corruptions.
Yeah, I think, transparency is key. But then, in transparency, I think Mr. Majid has also had perspectives on this. Let's say there is a transparency on funding elections. You gave good examples from US. So a lot of businesses, they have funded hugely to the election campaign, particularly to the Trump campaign. But then does that means that is it good enough still to get the get the good election result, and that ensure that the people who elected is going to do good? And you mentioned about inequalities, right? Corruption creates inequalities. But is this kind of election, although the campaigning is very much transparent, like big people, businesses are funding massively to the political parties, and you also said that it creates a vicious circle because those who funds
Get something back.
Get something back, and then you have to serve, like you said about they have to serve to the public, but they don't serve to the public, but they serve to their donors, right? So how do we ensure that with transparency that we still get a very genuine and checked and balanced, and there's the limitations of how much they fund, and how do we ensure that the elected person does not serve to the funders but actually serve to the public?
Yes, that is a very important point, in the sense that our election system, or even going to power, everything, it has been a investment milieu or investment type of something. Okay, I will spend a lot of money for being elected, then I will try to keep it up, getting profit out of it. So
it's a business. It's a business.
It has been a business. I will misuse or abuse of something. Even in a remote village, even if you want to be a principal of a college, then you have to give money to the local body management, who is a political leader, something. And then what your impression will be on your students and your colleagues when they will know that you have spent a lot of money to become the principal here. Principal is a man, he must be a model.
Absolutely.
He must be a good sense to the people, to the students.
Having high level of integrity, honesty, and a role model.
But when they know that you have spent a lot of money to be here, then they will not obey you, and they will be totally derailed. So that's why I'm saying that a preventive measure must be than cure.
So you mentioned about preventive measures and also the cause.
Yeah.
What are those preventive measures?
No, the preventive means is that you must maintain the accountability, transparency. Transparency. When you are appointing a principal, he must be appointed on his merit, on his own capability, on his own structure in the society, a starter in the society, a good man, a person man. Money will not be the question.
So we have
so that's the transparency is very important in the election system.
Absolutely.
Or even the selection system.
Yeah.
There should be that yes, only good people will be coming. Bad people should not drive good people from the society. By if you employ a bad people, it means that he's discouraging, or he's letting other people, good people, that they are going out because they will not be in competition. So that's why transparency means that system should work, ideology should work, ethical standard must be maintained while doing everything. And then the question of accountability, in the sense that you are a regional administrator. You must serve me because you get paid by the tax I pay. So you will have to serve me. But at the same time, if I see that you are asking me money or
Yeah.
giving support in providing services to me, then I will be frustrated. So that's why the frustration of the people must be eliminated through establishing a transparency system, accountability system. Then I think it will be.
Yeah, great. But I think to simplify, about corruptions, right? Maybe we'll have I would like to hear from Suthikorn,
Sure,
from
sure.
your experience, and how people perceives when it comes about corruption. So how do they perceive this, and how prevalent it is, for example, in Thailand,
Sure.
and the countries that you work around.
Sure. So may I answer the previous questions? How after transparencies, you need education to educate the society to have the right mindset. After you open the data for everyone to see, right? So we cannot dictate how they think, but we can educate them what is right, what is wrong. And if the politicians do make too much, too far favor for the donors, then the public will not elect them next time. The public will not elect them next time because they have the right mindset, they have the right education to know that this is too far, this is too much, and it harm the society, it's harm the country. So this is something I think transparency come with the mindset of the people. So it go together and help changing and
with
turn the vicious
with
cycle.
accountability and
Yes.
check and balance,
Yes,
right?
yes. With that education and the right mindsets, it creates accountability, it creates check and balance, and it turns the vicious cycle. That's what we hope. Yep.
So in terms of the corruptions, like how people perceive corruption in Thailand, like how do they understand when it comes about corruptions and so what is corruption in Thailand?
It is prevalent in Thailand in every level. If you get ticket for parking, you can pay somehow to avoid that. So there's always system to kind of catching the people who doing that. For example, the traffic police get some money from the ticket directly, so they don't have to risk the
They
job.
will be caught.
Yeah. So instead of getting the bribe, they get the money from the official ticket.
Right.
So there's always way to
It's a
kind of
safe-
catch up. Yes.
Safe corruption.
Yes, it's a safe
To be
corruption.
safe,
Yes, to be safe.
Yeah.
So this is something that the system has to be innovative to try to find ways to avoid that. Every times we discuss about government official corruptions, I always think about the case of Singapore. They have very good standards in that sense, because when you regulate someone, you need to get paid higher than what they can pay you to be corrupt. You see what I mean?
Right.
When you do have a politicians coming for vote buying, it's happened only in countryside, not in the capital, because in capital we earn high enough. We can be bought. I mean, people in the capital can be bought, but it's too expensive for politicians to buy us, because we earn like say $50,000 a year, then they have to pay like $2,000 to get us to vote for them, but they don't have enough money to pay $2,000, right?
Yeah.
So it's happened if we get the living standard, the income higher, it's not easy for politicians to vote buying. They fight for arguments, they fight for ideologies.
Right.
Like in the US, they cannot vote buying people because in developed countries, people earn too much, too far for them to be able to make significant vote buying amount.
Right.
Yes, so this is something that I observe. And I think for government officials, when you regulate private sectors, those boss of private sector like earn 10 times more than you. It's not fair, right?
Yeah.
It's not fair. So in Singapore, they benchmark.
Is
And-
there?
Yes, and they benchmark, and then those government officials will have the same salary as those private sector, they regulate.
So there is no like pay parity sort of
Yes.
gap.
Yes.
But then why people take a bribe? Why they corrupt? Like let's say the police officers or health assistants or anyone. Why do they take bribes? Is it because they are poor? They don't have enough support for their livelihoods. They're low rankings. Because oftentimes people say that, let's say public servants, why they bribe is they don't have enough salary, right?
In many cases.
In many cases.
Yes.
Do you think that is also that is the case in most of the poor countries, so that the people take bribes?
It's
Or
the
is
same.
it just the public servants that take bribes and other don't take?
It's the same
Right.
as what I mentioned about voters taking money from politicians. If you earn higher, the money you need to get vote for someone is higher. And so it's not possible for politicians to buy you the vote because it's too expensive. The same, if you are government official and you earn high, you're not going to risk yourself by very small amount.
Right.
It's harder for people to get corrupt because they earn enough for their living.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Majid, you mentioned about cause and consequences. I'm very much interested in cause of corruptions because sometimes we see that, okay, this policeman is taking a bribe, they put him into the jail. Is that a solution? Or you think that the root cause of corruption is lack of accountability, lack of transparency, right? Lack of values and lack of integrity. It's partly individual, partly system, and partly maybe called social cultural norms and values. So do you see that the cause of petty corruptions is just because people are looking for quick fix, or because they're very poor and they don't have financial benefits from where they are working? Because one example is the lack of enough salaries for public servants in most of the country, underdeveloped and developing countries, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Thailand. So what do you think? Do we focus more on dealing the symptoms or actually hitting into the cause?
From the study that our Center for Governance Studies we did, we heard so many people, ordinary businessmen and etc. We have found that it has been a social type of problem. Social problem in the sense that a government official, he is asking more money because he is not getting good salary, etc. But why you are doing it? They said that I may be a clean person. I will not take any bribe. But I will have to bribe my son
to get a better school,
or I will have to get
a job.
So when the entire society becomes a so rent-sinking type of something, then it is very difficult for a person to be innovative. So that's why we must want to elaborate the inequality system or the social equality system. We must make it more clear in that way, because our system, in our corruption curbing system, is this, that you will be corrupted, you will earn more money, then I will start proceeding against you. Right. And then by the time you have enough money with you, then you can buy me, you can buy the system, you can buy the legal system, everything.
Right.
So that's why we must stop it. That that is why I'm asking always a preventive theory. Preventive theory, I must point out the person who is taking money. Let it not be a tycoon of corruption and something. Then later on he may be dethrone me also. If he is so powerful and etc. Even in United States and many places, you have seen that the leaders are investing more money to be in power or something. So that's why. So the preventive theory, in the sense, it should work. That is right. Suthikorn has rightly pointed out. The people must be educated. They must be told that this is the way and it should be ensured. Please don't vote a corrupted person, and etc. etc. But it will not be a one-sided job. It should be the society, the enabling environment must be like that. In Indonesia, you see, they issue a different color receipt for as a speed money or something.
Right.
Because a businessman here, he said that if I bribe you, I must give it from my balance sheet or from my year. Then where I will put this figure that I have given you bribing? So there must be a receipt. The Indonesian system, they give an issue, a receipt that yes, okay, I have taken such money as a speed of your case and etc.
Right.
So he is also accountable to his system that I have taken this money in this way, and the company also is. As I am former chairman of National Board of Revenue, I have seen this type of problem every time that my tax officials, they are dealing with very large business people. They have enough money. They can get a good, very higher ranking accountants. That how he can overthrow my officials in dealing with more corrupt practices and etc. So there should be a balancing of enabling, creating enabling environment so that the government officials or the traffic police and even the principal in the college, that he should not be enforced to be corrupted.
Absolutely.
So give him more protection. Start from the very beginning. Prevention is the better cure.
And also, also for the public servants or whoever taking a duty of serving citizen, this needs to be motivated. Those who are doing good work, right? They needs to be encouraged, motivated, and highlighted their good work and project them as a role model for the society, because society, particularly the young people, are losing hope because they don't see like anywhere they go, things are not working for them, right? I think we are almost
a social notion should be created that all people should establish. Okay, be clean, be clear, then we will help each other.
Right.
A social movement must be there among, and I think in that.
Okay, so I think we are very much end of the show, but here, because we talk a lot about challenges and problems, but we also discuss about solution, but mostly in a conceptual and theoretical frame. But if we are here for the Bay of Bengal conversation, and also I was hearing a lot of speakers from yesterday, from Professor Yunus to many other speakers. Everybody is talking about let's start something new, something cool, something nice, something engaging, something pride. So let's focus on the solutions, right? What do you think are the hope and the solution that we must focus on? So we are very much at the end. So if let's start from you. So what do you think that this generation has to do in order to tackle corruptions and reforming corruptions? So what is your solutions look like?
We have given the second subtitle is a fractured world. First of all, we should make tight.
Right.
We should combine our society,
repair
our people, sense of consolation, sense of so that consciousness that if we do corrupt or if we practice corruption and etc., then we will be rather be engulfed by the corruption itself. So our own realization is very important. Creating enabling environment so that people can get a good, transparent system and accountable system, position, election system, everything. Then I think it could be. Solution it may not come in a day or two, but we should start.
Just last 10 seconds remarks on you, because Bangladesh has gone through a massive shift in power. And it's been almost 100 years of you had this protest and all. So what message you have for young people who have fight for the freedom and we are also kind of like waiting for big reforms? So what message you have so that they can be more patient, but at the same time more proactive and kind of watchdog to the government. So what message do you want to give?
Yeah, this is our movement of our young people this time was against the inequality. in society, they were not getting job, or they are so fighting the inequality. And for that purpose, our young people, we all should be passionate. We all should be more sensible in that sense. That if we can make, we have established so many reform commissions, reform in office system, in distribution, or in every cases. So reform, we should
Thank
wait
you.
for the reform.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Suthikorn, what do you think is the solution that we should be focusing on?
Thanks, Narayan. I think what I already emphasized is transparency. And transparency come with the right mindset of people will create the impact. And for the last question you asked is, what should I give for the youth of Bangladesh? I think what you should not lose is hope. This only thing that you should not let anything take it away from you, and you hope for the best for the country, and you work harder. I think it's, in the vicious cycle, it's easy for you to fall into that vicious cycle. But if you work harder, swim against the current, I think you can still survive and make the impact and make the change for the country.
So everybody has to be ready to think differently and act differently, right? Be, have that courage, to change the stereotypes and be ready to contribute also as part of their duties. So do you think the civic sort of responsibility is also very, very important, that everybody has to be very, very much of disciplined and contributing on their part instead of just looking at others and sort of blaming and, so, okay. I think we're end of the show. Thank you so much. I think we had a very good conversation from, understanding about the cause and consequences of corruptions and the importance of transparency, and also importance of young people's roles in fighting corruption. So with that, I would like to end by giving thanks to my amazing panelists and the Bay of Bengal conversation team. So let's work and let's think differently, think positively, and act differently and act positively. And that's where we can fight our common battle in the world, in the regions, that is corruptions. Let's hope for the good. And as Suthikorn mentioned, let's not lose our hope. And hope is the only solutions. Thank you so much. Thank you.